Borneo and Sumatra, tropical islands of epic proportions. Wild and unpredictable. Gigantic and majestic animals somehow thrive alongside each other, captured within a dense jungle. A unique playground for the mighty and the misfits. But around every corner, battles are fought. These are the islands of monsters. "12,000 years ago, during the last ice age, these islands were one landmass. As climates warmed, sea levels rose, and these separate fragments were formed. Borneo is the world's third largest island. Almost 3/4 is Indonesian territory. The rest is split between Malaysia and Brunei. It is one of the most biodiverse places on Earth, surrounded by rich waters, teeming with tropical life. Extensive mudflats and mangrove habitats fringe these coastal areas. But what dominates this island is almost 400,000 square kilometers of ancient rainforest. Monsters have been evolving and multiplying in these dark jungles. Where have they come from? And what has allowed so many to thrive in one place? There's a creature that seems perfectly suited to island life and is found only here in Borneo. Since being isolated from other monkeys in Asia, they've evolved a very odd body part. The male proboscis monkeys have the biggest noses of all primates, and the alpha has the largest by far. But it's more than just to attract the females. It's a trumpet, and he uses it to establish his authority. When one of your ladies starts eyeing a young intruder, you need to have a big voice to keep her in check. This roaming bachelor encourages her advances anyway, clearly upsetting the alpha. He retaliates by demonstrating his strength. And the young male soon retreats. Proboscis monkeys have been nicknamed the Dutchmen, and it's not just because of their large noses. They're also famous for their huge pot bellies. Their stomachs have evolved like fermentation tanks. Split into chambers and loaded with bacteria, they can digest even the most undesirable vegetation that would be poisonous to most other animals. A clever trick, as they can eat almost anything, and that's exactly what they do all day long. These successful monkeys live in large family groups, which definitely has its advantages. There's always someone there to help keep the bugs at bay. And the young have a choice of playmates on hand. But not everyone can join in. Newborn proboscis monkeys have bright blue faces, making them obvious to the rest of the group, because it's not just their mothers that suckle and care for them, it's any adult female. But these faces aren't just a beacon to their family. Some monsters in this forest are silent stalkers. With large round eyes, a heightened sense of smell, and perfect hearing. This beast is acutely aware of what the forest has on offer. The clouded leopard is a skilled, secretive, and stealthy predator. Blessed with an exceptionally long tail and flexible joints, they are masters of balance and can move silently through the dense canopy. But having a loud family has its benefits. With so many watchful eyes and a sophisticated alarm call system, they quickly clear the danger zone. The defeated leopard disappears back into the shadows. The coastal mangroves that these monkeys live in line the edge of the island. It's the meeting point between land and sea. This can be a difficult place to survive. Life is strictly governed by the tides. As the water recedes, it is feeding time for the wealth of animals that live buried underneath the waves. Mudskippers and crabs make the most of this rich food source. With their webbed feet, the monkeys can wade out across the soft mud and enjoy the fresh new leaves. As the tides turn, it's time for the mangrove's residents to batten down the hatches. At high tide, this habitat is a network of waterways cutting through the mangrove trees. These murky waters are an ideal hunting ground for a somewhat bizarre-looking reptile. The soft-shelled turtle. Without the protection of a hard shell, he spends most of his time hidden under the sediment. All that is visible is his pig-like snout. Small but sharp eyes keep watch as fish flitter around, unaware of his presence. He waits. cantors, or froghead, is a remarkable turtle. It's a staggering 2 meters in length. In complete contrast to its sluggish cousins, it's one of the fastest strikers on the planet, beating the cobra hands down. And it can deliver a bone-crushing bite. But another danger lurks in the water. The monkeys are faced with a dilemma. They need to cross this river to reach feeding grounds on the other side. Although they're excellent swimmers, the risk is just too high. Crocodiles kill more proboscis monkeys than any other predator. So it's time for a leap of faith. It's a precise calculation to see them across the infested water. One false move could be fatal. And with so much river debris, it's not always easy to judge the best route. It's not just Borneo's coastal areas that are inundated with water. Many channels carve their way through this limestone landscape, absorbing nutrients as they go. Mineral streams are an important life source for another monster in the forest. These beautiful giants are Raja Brooks birdwings, one of the largest butterflies in the world, easily spanning the size of your hand. These newly emerged males have gathered here to warm up their wings. The water is packed full of sodium and potassium, salts that are vital for their flight muscles to develop. This male can easily lap up many times his body weight in water. And the excess gets squirted straight out the other end. But it's time well spent. They're amongst the strongest flyers in the butterfly world. And once they take to flight, each butterfly will spend the majority of its life on the wing, in his search for a mate. Borneo's rivers and streams are a lifeline for the island's residents, and this water can be traced back to its highest point, Mount Kinabalu. Lying on Borneo's Malaysian side, it towers above the swampy forests, but its presence influences the whole island. This huge granite plug pushed up through the surrounding rock 15 million years ago, and it's still growing. Rising half a centimetre a year, this colossal peak reaches over 4 kilometres into the air. It's home to 6,000 species of plant, more than in the whole of Europe. It's a different world up here. Lower temperatures and thinner soils present challenges to plant life, and they've evolved a variety of coping mechanisms. Some plants in this alien world have developed a new taste. They've become carnivores. Attracted by this pitcher plant's sweet nectar, a fly dances with death. Dangerously close beneath lies a deadly reservoir. A vat of digestive enzymes, ready to break down anything unlucky enough to fall in. This trickster's ribbed edge is designed to make prey lose their footing. But the fly takes off just in time. A moth is not so lucky. But pitcher plants are not just agents of death. Over time, this fluid is diluted by rainwater, and the plants are colonized by midge and fly larvae. In return for a safe home, these squatters help to digest the plant's prey. Borneo is in direct line of rain-bearing winds. Each day, rain clouds build up over the forest and are driven upwards by the bulk of Mount Kinabalu. This is one of the wettest places on Earth, with some parts of the island receiving up to 4 meters in a year. Plentiful water, intense equatorial heat, and fertile volcanic soils has created a jungle unrivaled in its richness. There's always abundant fresh vegetation for the forest residents to feed on. And they themselves play a key role in maintaining this abundance. Borneo's elephants are amongst the most important seed dispersers on the island. These herbivorous giants will hoover up over 100 kilos of vegetation each day, almost the weight of a newborn calf. And they aren't fussy eaters, consuming 162 different species of plant. Figs are also a tasty treat, but nothing beats one freshly picked from the tree. It's lucky some of the other forest residents have a sharing streak. They might seem like giants. Actually, these pygmy elephants are the smallest elephants in the world, standing almost a meter shorter than their Asian cousins. And they're found only here, on the island of Borneo. Unlike other Asian elephants, these pygmies are a lot less aggressive, and they've got a comical, almost childlike look about them. Their faces are rounder, their ears are bigger, and their tails almost reach the ground. All of this feeding is thirsty work. A dip in the river proves irresistible. They can cool down. quench their thirst. And even the mud has its benefits, providing calcium to keep their tusks and bones healthy. Led by a matriarch, pygmy elephants have strong family bonds. And it's not surprising, as they can live up to 60 years in the wild. By 10 years of age, male pygmy elephants start to become sexually active. A mature bull has to reprimand this feisty youngster. But when his back is turned, another young pretender tries his luck with the ladies. And he's very persistent. But it doesn't work out for him this time. In a few years, he'll mature and get pushed out of this herd to sow his seeds elsewhere. But for now, he has to toe the line. Monkeys and apes provide the soundtrack to these magical forests. And the steamy jungles of Borneo have a more unique variety than any other place on Earth. If monsters were defined by their size, there would be none greater than the orangutan, or man of the forest. The largest tree-dwelling mammal in the world. Although there may be a few physical differences, they share 97% of our genes, and certain traits are uncannily familiar. The young spend the first 9 years of life under the watchful eyes of their mothers. They cling on tightly to build their strength, the first stage of their canopy masterclass. As juveniles, they take their first solo steps, testing out their navigation skills and coordinating their sometimes clumsy climbing limbs. they have a lot to learn. What to eat and what not to eat. And what creatures to definitely stay away from. A silent assassin is out on the hunt. Reaching lengths of 5 meters, the king cobra is the largest of all venomous snakes. They rule over this multi-dimensional world. One drop of venom could bring an adult orangutan to the ground in minutes. This young female has strayed far from the watchful eyes of her mother. It seems the cobra has her in his sights. But she's in luck. The king cobra only has a taste for other snakes. Using the tree as a vantage point, he searches for prey on the forest floor. A rat snake. With his super sharp eyesight and keen sense of smell, he locks on to his target. With one swift strike, his powerful venom is delivered. A lesson learned for the youngster. But an experienced old male knows there are no true predators on the forest floor of this island. And with his size, sometimes it's just easier to walk. Orangutans used to be found across Southeast Asia. Today, these ancient forests of Borneo are one of their last refuges. The only other is a neighboring island, but over there, the forest floor is far from safe. 300 miles across the sea from Borneo lies the island of Sumatra. Like Borneo, it became separated as sea levels rose. Large animals became marooned, castaways from the Asian mainland. Constantly evolving, they developed unique adaptations to fit their island life. The Sumatran orang is a rare beast. Confined to the far north of this fertile volcanic island, they eke out a fragile existence and are quite different from their Bornean cousins. For one thing, even the largest of males prefer to stay up in the trees. Their hair is longer and brighter orange in color. And they are much more sociable than their neighbors in Borneo, happily dining together in fruiting trees. Residing so far above the ground, it is vital to keep sure-footed at all times. A tumble from these heights can be fatal. But there's more danger than just the impact alone. The jungle floor is ruled by the king of this island, the Sumatran tiger. This lethal predator may be the smallest of the 5 surviving species of tiger, but it would make an easy meal of an orangutan. Whilst the orangs remain in the treetops, they're safe, but the eye of the tiger is ever watchful. Of all the forest delights, the orangutans here in Sumatra favour the durian fruit. It's packed with essential nutrients, but it's a little tricky to handle. This youngster watches his mother as she carefully locates a fracture line and skillfully prizes it open. It will take him years to master this art, but she makes sure there'll be plenty around when he does. The hard, spiky shell presents a challenge to first-timers. A classic schoolboy error. Unaware of the tiger's presence, this doting adult puts her life on the line. Luckily, this tiger has other things on her mind. She's one of only 400 Sumatran tigers clinging to existence, so she has to ensure her legacy lives on. And she's got 3 boisterous cubs to educate. These tigers hunt close to water. With darker and more densely packed stripes to other tigers, these hunters are perfectly camouflaged in the shadows. They wait for unsuspecting prey to come and drink, and then use their long rear legs to pounce out from the dense bushes. Play fighting with siblings is a good way to develop their hunting skills. For these cubs, getting used to the water is essential. But some are more keen than others. Starting a family is even more important for another Sumatran inhabitant. This somewhat prehistoric herbivore is a rare sight among these thickets. The Sumatran rhino. Of the 5 remaining species of rhino, they are the smallest and the hairiest. These solitary animals are inexhaustible walkers. But she's a creature of habit, always following the same circular path. She'll cover 15 kilometers in a night in search of prime plants to feed on. This female has bigger worries on her mind. With only 200 left on this huge island, meeting a mate is like finding a needle in a haystack. So, she must find a way to advertise her presence. Any male in the area will now know she's here and available. Now she just has to sit and wait. And what better way to pass the time than a full-body mud bath? Finding a mate in this vast forest can be a tough task for the Sumatran rhino. But back in the forests of Borneo, the king cobra faces the opposite problem. Because males seek out only the largest females, as it's their young that have a greater chance of surviving to adulthood. Rivals often come head to head. A fight is inevitable. These two males are immune to one another's venom, so this is a contest of sheer strength. Some fights in this kingdom of monsters are vicious. But with this slick serpent, it's more of a hypnotic dance. Battle for throne has been won. The defeated snake retreats. The victor claims his territory and wins access to the females within it. Perhaps this hypnotic and mesmerizing dance is the reason for the king cobra being the basis of local folklore. These mystical forests and the monsters within are the source of many myths and legends. But it is the sun that has the strongest presence in Indonesian mythology. Its ability to descend into the underworld without dying and return each morning has been the inspiration for the name given to one of the forest residents. This is the smallest of all bears. Standing at just 70 centimeters, they'd barely reach your knees. Small, yet far from graceful. With their inward-pointing feet, they look like misfits on the forest floor. Legend has christened them the sun bear. Their distinct markings resemble the golden orb that rises over the forest each morning. Like the rest of his bear cousins, this cumbersome male is led by his nose. Fixed on a scent, and with his sickle-like claws at the ready, he sniffs out a tasty treat, but often gets distracted. Eventually, the nose of this honey monster does guide him to treasure. Using his claws to strip the bark, he gets access to the sweet, sugary sap inside and the many insects that call this place home. Rivaling the Amazon in its productivity, Borneo's trees grow incredibly fast. As a result, these lowland jungles house the world's tallest rainforest trees, almost as tall as the Statue of Liberty, towering 80 meters and upwards. This secret high-rise world contains multiple layers of life. But with over 30 meters to the lowest branches, the fresh leaf growth on most of these trees is a long way from ground level. In this plentiful forest, there's always a tree and fruit, but it takes an experienced nose to find the best one to exploit. And he's off. With his claws wrapped around the trunk and hairless soles to maximize his grip, he makes light work of the towering climb. Sun bears spend more time in the canopy than any other bears in the world, enjoying the delicious fruits of these magnificent trees. This giant's branches also provide an ideal perch for a monster on the wing. Borneo is home to 8 species of hornbills, the largest and noisiest of all birds in Indonesia. A unique feature of these winged giants is the casque, a hollow structure that runs along the upper part of the beak. Reinforcing their huge bills and acting as a resonating chamber for their calls. As its name suggests, the rhinoceros hornbill has the biggest of them all. Their oversized bill is an ideal tool for many things, but not so much when it comes to feeding. They can pluck figs from the tree with enormous precision, but getting them down the hatch is a skill that comes with practice. These ancient trees are essential to sustain life high up in the canopy, and they even go on giving after they die. Often being hollowed out by termites in their old age, these giants can't be supported by their shallow roots. Eventually, they come crashing to the ground and form an extra dimension to the forest floor. In the damp of the jungle, a fallen tree soon begins to decay. It is then host to a variety of bugs. And this is where his keen sense of smell once again guides the sun bear to the hidden treasure. Using his powerful claws, his 30-centimeter long tongue, and the strongest canines in the bear family, he can prise open even the toughest of ironwood trunks. His reward? A bounty of tantalizing termites. Insects make up a large portion of his diet, and he feasts on over 100 different species. But some are harder to get than others. The jungle canopy may be home to the obvious giants, yet the forest floor is the territory of the real monsters on these islands and can provide the secret to the forest's formation. Dark, damp, and eerie, the unknown linger in the shadows. More than 3/4 of the animals here are insects. It's a world where appearances are deceptive. What may seem to be a giant can be misleading. Giant millipedes have existed on the Earth for over 400 million years and are the key recycling agents in the leaf litter. 100,000 different species of insects are packed into this jungle. Battles are commonplace here. You need to be specialized to survive. Camouflage is one option. The dead leaf mantis. Perfectly disguised to blend in with its leaf litter surroundings. This monster can ambush insect prey whilst being undetected by its predators. But there is danger much closer to home. These beasts are highly territorial. Wandering into another mantis's lair can only spell trouble. It's a battle of poses to begin with. They size each other up. Striking faster than the blink of an eye, it is certain death. Seeing the opportunity in every kill, the victor eats his reward. Cannibalism is common here, and nothing goes to waste. The smell of death travels far in this underworld. He unwittingly shares his prize. Piece by piece, it is dismantled. Ants play a critical role in this forest ecosystem. Recycling dead organic matter, they feed nutrients back into the soil. In turn, the enchanted forest floor is scattered with many different waste processes, including one bizarrely sophisticated and beautiful. The bridal veil fungus absorbs nutrients from the decaying leaf litter and through a network of filaments connected to tree roots, acts as a portal to return life back to the forest. But despite its appearance, it emits a smell so rotten, only carrion flies find it truly attractive. Using rancid smells to attract pollinators is a widely used tactic. But there are plants in these jungles that take it one step further. The corpse flower, or Rafflesia, lives exclusively in Borneo and Sumatra. Cabbage-like growths parasitize the jungle's vines. After 9 months, and only when it's ready to reproduce, it opens to reveal a massive 5-petaled flower. Its appearance and odor mimic rotting flesh, tricking passers-by into believing it's a meal worth pursuing. It's the largest single flower on Earth, spanning 1 meter across and weighing up to 10 kilos. And to further trump that flower, nighttime reveals a more sinister trick. A heat-sensitive camera reveals an object that steadily heats up to 10 degrees hotter than the surroundings. It's the flower of the elephant yam. Not only reeking of rotting flesh, it has further evolved to mimic the warmth of a dying animal. The heat also lifts the odor up into the forest air, increasing the flower's chance of attracting carrion beetles. And when they arrive, they are captured. The waxy walls ensure the beetles cannot escape, but tumble straight into the center of the monster flower. Dawn arrives, and the captors are held throughout the day. On the second night, a rain shower of pollen occurs within the flower, coating the beetles below. They've paid their dues and are now free to go. Miraculously, the inner walls of the flower change texture, inviting the beetles to climb to freedom and spread the pollen. This incredible tactic is just one of many evolutionary masterstrokes that keep the islands of Borneo and Sumatra regenerating. These plants and animals have developed unique adaptations to island life. The monsters have become mini, and the small have supersized, each one claiming their own realm. The forests owe their wealth to the actions of their residents. In this well-oiled machine, nothing goes to waste. The cyclical nature of the animals' lives echoes the ebb and flow of the island's habitats. After thousands of years, a delicate balance has been struck, ensuring success for both the islands and their inhabitants for many years to come. On Indonesia's eastern frontier lies an ancient world. Forged by fire, it is a land of extremes. Isolated for thousands of years, creatures have evolved beyond recognition. Each habitat harbors a unique mix of the bold and the bizarre. Papua's lost worlds support one of the richest and strangest concentrations of life on our planet. The forests of Papua are home to many strange creatures. Isolated for thousands of years, many have evolved unique adaptations. Sugar gliders are small enough to fit into a human hand. These miniature marsupials are nocturnal hunters, surviving by scavenging the treetops for a meal. Able to survive on leaves alone, they prefer something with a bit more crunch. Insects are a protein-packed delicacy. Living in large families, sugar gliders often have to share their meal. But in these wild forests, there is not always safety in numbers. predators can quickly turn into prey. Stealth is the snake's secret weapon. Ambush assassins, they strike suddenly and swiftly. Luckily, the sugar glider has a trick of its own, and the snake is left to search elsewhere for its evening meal. New Guinea lies in the Pacific Ocean's Ring of Fire, marking the eastern boundary of Indonesia's island chain. A melting pot of tectonic activity, volcanic eruptions and earthquakes are a daily occurrence. Much of what we see today was forged deep below the ground. For almost 300 million years, New Guinea was attached to what is now known as Australia, as the ebb and flow of the Earth's crust decided its fate. Eventually, the crust settled, but it was not until the end of the last glacial period, 7,000 years ago, that the island claimed its freedom. Rising sea levels flooded the Australian lowlands, cutting New Guinea off and creating a new island state. Between two plates, New Guinea buckled under the pressure of successive collisions, forming a mountainous ridge running down its spine. Today, it remains the largest and highest tropical island in the world, and one of the last wildernesses left on Earth. The Indonesian region of Papua encompasses the western half of New Guinea. Shrouded in mystery, it has remained inaccessible to all but a few. Papua has an unbelievable variety of landscapes. Equatorial glaciers cap mountains covered by impenetrable forest. Thick mangroves create an oasis for life, while remote beaches stretch for thousands of kilometers. And all are surrounded by pristine coral reefs. Each ecosystem is unique, and each is full of life. The abundance of water and constant warmth has allowed wildlife to flourish. While some animals offer clues to the island's past, Papua's isolation has also resulted in the evolution of unique forms of life. Pigeons the size of turkeys display impressive crowns. Strange bear-like creatures patrol the treetops. And bizarre prehistoric birds stand as tall as a man. Papua is a land of lost worlds and a stronghold for the strange. One of the remotest corners of the island lies high up in the mountains. Steep valleys are cloaked in thick forest. Undisturbed for thousands of years, these are some of the least explored rainforests in the world. Birds were one of the earliest creatures to colonize the island. Isolated in this lost world with an abundance of food and a lack of predators, they were left to evolve beyond imagination. These are the birds of paradise. 39 species are known to exist. Separated by steep valleys, each has evolved a unique and dazzling display. Some more impressive than others. Thousands of years of evolution have been driven by a single factor: attracting a mate. Like her ancestors, she won't settle for anything but the best, creating one of nature's greatest spectacles. Papua's hidden valleys are one of the very few places on Earth where such stunning displays have been able to evolve. Whilst the birds of paradise are confined to their isolated pockets of forest, there are those who have mastered all but a few of the island's habitats. Some of the most successful prowl the forest floor. Monitor lizards are scavengers. They eat almost anything. With so much food on offer and a variety of environments to conquer, the lizards are thriving. A total of 11 species can be found in Papua alone. But with success comes pressure. The aggressive reptiles often come into contact with one another. When they do, a simple show of dominance quickly restores the pecking order. The reptilians' hierarchy allows them to make the most of the forest pickings without the need for bloodshed. For many, conflict is a part of daily life. A rhinoceros beetle patrols his territory. Growing over 10 centimeters long, males display impressive horns. And when they clash, battles can be fierce. Rhinoceros beetles are one of the strongest animals in the natural world, capable of lifting 100 times their own body weight. The giants hold their ground, clinging to the tree bark with hooks at the end of each foot. Eventually, the challenger is put in his place. And it becomes clear what all the fuss was about. A female has wandered into the territory. The victor caresses her. It seems he's deciding if she would make a suitable mate. But his efforts on the battlefield were in vain. She doesn't meet his standards. He can afford to be picky. Papua's forests support a wealth of life and opportunities. But the secret to the forest's success lies in the most surprising of locations. Hanging in caves and roosts across the island is one of the world's largest populations of fruit bats. Over 30 species are known to scientists, with many more yet to be discovered. Most are found nowhere else on Earth. The island would be a very different place without them. Fruit-loving mammals play a vital role in its upkeep. "65% of New Guinea is covered in thick, pristine forest. Swathes cloak mountains and valleys. And at its heart are huge colonies of fruit bats. Feeding from large areas of the canopy, the bats act as the forest's major seed dispersers, allowing trees and plants to spread. Many plants have evolved to make it easier for the bats to feed from their branches, and encouraging the spread of their seeds. Papua's fruit bats maintain the forest and ensure its growth and regeneration. Once demonized in ghost stories, the misunderstood bat is proving to be a key part of one of the richest rainforests on the planet. Although rainforest covers much of the island, life also thrives along its coastline. Papua's western edge is known as the Bird's Head Peninsula. Thousands of kilometers of remote beaches draw wanderers from the deep. As night falls, the visitors arrive. Leatherbacks are the largest sea turtles on Earth, growing up to 2 meters long and weighing up to 1,000 kilos. Critically endangered, the Bird's Head Peninsula is the giant's last stronghold in the Pacific Ocean. Females return to lay their eggs on the very same beaches where their own lives began. She uses her massive flippers to excavate a deep nest in the sand. Into which she lays up to 100 eggs. The sex of the hatchlings will be determined by the temperature of the nest. Higher than around 30 degrees Celsius, the hatchlings will be females. Anything cooler, and the nests produce males. Smaller eggs are also laid. Yolkless and sterile, they're designed to collapse over time, making extra room for the youngsters when they hatch. Finally, the nest is filled with sand. Nesting can take up to 3 hours, taking its toll on the mother. Papua's beaches are in high demand. Their isolation means the chance of survival is much higher than anywhere else in the Pacific. By sunrise, any mothers left on the beach head for the sanctuary of the water. Their part is now over. They won't return until they're ready to nest again. If the leatherback turtle is to have a future in our world's oceans, the beaches of the Bird's Head Peninsula have a vital role to play. Papua's northwest coastline lies in a critical position for marine life. It is located directly in the path of the Indonesian through flow. Higher sea levels in the Pacific and strong currents force rich, warm water south through the islands to the Indian Ocean beyond, providing them with life. None are more impressive than Raja Ampat. Over 1,500 islands make up the richest marine area in the world. From deserted pockets of sand to mountainous peaks, Raja Ampat is the jewel in Papua's crown. On land, life battles for dominance, whilst beneath the waves, an unimaginable world exists. Raja Ampat's true treasures lie beneath the surface. These are the richest coral reefs in the world. Powerful deep-sea currents funnel nutrients into Raja Ampat, forming the foundation of the food chain, which feeds a spectacular diversity of marine life. The islands are home to more than 10 times the number of hard coral species found in the Caribbean, and over 1,000 species of tropical fish. Isolation has been their greatest defense. Only now are we learning how special these reefs truly are. A sea fan hides one of Raja Ampat's most elusive residents. A pygmy seahorse. Less than 2 centimeters tall, it is the world's smallest seahorse. An easy meal to most passers-by, they survive by blending in. 2 males are settling a territorial dispute the old-fashioned way, by headbutting. The coral reef is one of the best examples in the natural world of how animals have adapted to their environment. None better than the clownfish. they live among the poisonous tentacles of sea anemones. Immune to their stings, clownfish have found the coral reef's perfect refuge. And it's not a one-way relationship. The fish pay their way by keeping the anemone clean and scaring off predators. In return, they're provided with a safe environment to raise their young. A pair clean a sheltered rock face within the safety of their fortress. Once ready, the female lays lines of tiny eggs for the male to fertilize. Lying so deep within the anemone, they are safe from passing predators. For the next 7 days, the male provides constant care to the growing eggs. He is under pressure. Immature clownfish gather, waiting for their chance to take over. The slightest mistake, and the female will kick him out. So he does all he can to keep the eggs clean and healthy. As the next generations start to take shape, their tiny beating hearts become visible. His efforts are paying off. Not all fish have the luxury of living their lives in safety. Most have to brave the reef's predators. Black-tipped reef sharks. They are notorious hunters. But these individuals don't pose a threat just yet. They are juveniles, using Raja Ampat's secluded coastlines to develop before heading out to deeper waters. With such a rich source of food, the sharks are found in great numbers. A sign of a healthy reef. Raja Ampat has a much farther-reaching influence than the waters of Papua. The island's strong currents sweep coral and fish larvae across the Indian and Pacific Oceans, replenishing ecosystems and spreading life. The hundreds of islands that make up the Raja Ampat archipelago don't only provide an oasis under the water. On land, there are endless opportunities. stunning orchids flourish, and vibrant birds prosper. But the water is never far away. And there is a world that has evolved to bridge the gap between land and sea. Mangroves sprawl along the coastline. Thick forests of roots have conquered the tidal zone, supporting a community of colourful creatures. Papua's mangroves are home to over 30 species of fiddler crab. There is nowhere else in the world where they live in such great numbers. Emerging at low tide, an array of species live side by side. But time is not on the crab's side. They only have a few hours to go about their business before the tide rises and they are forced to retreat to the safety of their burrows. It is a mad rush to get everything done. Food must be eaten. Burrows must be cleaned. And neighborly feuds settled. In just a few hours, the tide turns, and the crabs are forced to retreat. The high tide reveals another world, and a new cast of creatures. Not all of Raja Ampat's mangroves grow in sediment. Many thrive in the archipelago's clear waters. These sanctuaries provide fish with the perfect spot to spawn. Hidden amongst the roots, they are sheltered from predators as they grow and develop. But some have learnt to make the most of what the high tide draws in. Brahmini kites wait patiently for the waters to rise. From their perch, acute vision locates their prey. The graceful hunters pick helpless fish off with ease. Raja Ampat is yet another example of one of Papua's lost worlds, where isolation has resulted in the evolution of the extraordinary. Each morning, one of the island's rarest and most endangered inhabitants goes on display. The red bird of paradise is only found on 4 tiny islands in the archipelago. getting its name from its glossy red tail, out of which its central feathers have evolved into a striking pair of twisted, shiny black tapes. Like all of Papua's birds, it loves to be seen. Males gather in display trees during the breeding season to perform an elaborate courtship ritual. The dance is aimed at attracting a mate. But despite his best efforts, the morning show goes unnoticed. He'll have to try his luck again tomorrow. Papua provides opportunities for both the bold and the bizarre. While some show off in plain sight, others go about their business under the cover of darkness. Nocturnal hunters head out to feed. Their victims' remains surround their underground homes. The robber crab, the largest land-dwelling arthropod in the world. Capable of reaching almost a meter across and weighing a staggering 4 kilos. They have a voracious appetite. They scour beaches for their quarry. If all else fails, they head to the source. The crabs are after coconuts. The fleshy center is packed with protein. Once it finds what it's looking for, the crab drags the coconut back to its lair. Where it uses its nutcracker-like claws to tear off the husk. The appetite of this nocturnal forager has given it another name, the coconut crab. But there has been a price to pay for feeding from the island's bounties. Spending their life on land, the crabs have had to sacrifice their gills for lungs, marooning them. The sea now presents a deadly barrier, preventing them from returning to the world they once knew. For the coconut crab, entering the water would mean certain death. For most, the waters of Papua provide riches. Sendawashi Bay lies on the northern coast. It's a remote natural wonder. For millions of years, the bay was isolated from the flow of Pacific tides. This separation led to the evolution of rich stocks of fish and coral, and gave rise to it being called the Galapagos of the East. Today, Sendawashi still harbors pristine coral reefs and vast quantities of fish, attracting fishermen from far and wide. Living on a boat, known locally as a bagan, they spend months at a time at sea. With stocks so rich, they are spoilt for choice. But the crew have a special relationship with one fish in particular. In order to have a successful catch, they must make an offering to a creature of the deep. Andreas throws bait fish back into the water. He then waits to see if they've done the trick. Whale sharks. The world's largest fish is not on the fisherman's menu. But they believe fishing is more plentiful when the sharks are around. Drawn in by the offerings on the surface and by the vast quantities of fish hanging in the nets below, it doesn't take long for the giants to arrive. Whale sharks suck in huge amounts whilst feeding. Food gathers in a ball at the back of their throat as water is filtered out through their gills. Fishermen have reported up to 20 sharks around their boat, with each able to consume more than 2.5 kilos of fish a day. It's impossible to satisfy them all. some of the bay's other residents arrive to make the most of the handouts. This unique relationship between man and beast highlights how the natural world is revered by those who live within Papua's lost worlds. The waters of Cendawashi Bay support an incredibly healthy population of whale sharks. And it has recently been discovered that they are the only whale sharks in the world that don't migrate. Usually ocean wanderers, these sharks have taken up permanent residence in the bay. The reason for this remains unclear. Even stranger is that they are nearly all young males. Maybe it's the fishermen's handouts. Or maybe it is the abundance of food in Papua's waters. The mystery of Cendawashi's whale sharks remains unsolved. Papua's lost worlds and the creatures they contain have thrived thanks to their isolation. Cut off from the modern world, they are a throwback to how the Earth once was. Proof that evolution can be driven by separation. And when it's left to its own devices, its results can be magical. Central Indonesia is a wild volcanic world. Trapped in the heart of the monsoon, rains have created a paradise. Marooned on these tropical islands, life thrives. But not all is as it seems in this land of dragons. In Indonesia, there is a mystical world. Unchanged for millions of years, it hides many secrets. A dry, barren land. Few survive here. For centuries, ancient legends have told of monsters roaming the hills. We now know these stories to be true. Komodo dragon is a modern-day dinosaur at the peak of its powers. On the handful of islands it inhabits, space is at a premium, forcing the animals to live side by side. And they seem to have an amazing tolerance for one another. But it is unwise to underestimate the danger on your doorstep. Despite its wounds, the attack appears to have failed. But the dragon knows something the deer doesn't. He's dying. It has recently been discovered that Komodo dragons have incredibly potent venom. But unlike other reptiles, their methods of administering it are more brutal. The poison seeps into large wounds inflicted during the attack. One bite is all it takes, as the victim suffers for hours and sometimes even days before it eventually dies. More and more dragons are drawn in from across the island. Sensing the inevitable, this hunting technique has been perfected over millions of years and has been key to the animal's success. Komodo dragons have voracious appetites, and they tear into their meal. The 3-meter-long monsters can devour almost their entire body weight in one sitting. nothing will be left to waste. As the only predators on the Komodo archipelago, they have a vital role to play. Ruthlessly efficient at pruning out the weak, they have the ability to control the populations of other animals and maintain a balance within this ancient ecosystem. The volcanic islands of Komodo lie on Indonesia's border with the Indian Ocean. Along with ancient fragments of the Asian and Australasian plates, they make up one of the most biologically important regions in the world. Known as Wallacea, the islands are home to an unbelievable diversity of life. And their very own collection of dragons. The Western world did not learn of the importance of these unique isles until the middle of the 19th century, when it was documented by the English explorer and naturalist Alfred Russel Wallace, after whom the region is named. During his travels, Wallace was struck by the strange mix of creatures inhabiting the islands. They teemed with species unknown to science and unseen anywhere else. To the east lay the lands of Australasia and their bizarre creatures. Kangaroos, cassowaries, and birds of paradise. Whilst to the west, the animals had evolved to roam the vast forests and plains of Asia. Unable to reach the Eden in between, those living there were left to thrive. Many of the islands are young and were created less than 2 million years ago. Formed by a chain of volcanoes, they emerged from beneath the ocean. The newly formed volcanic islands had rich, fertile soil. All they needed was life, which the sea provided. Plants were the first to arrive, as strong ocean currents carried fruits and seeds. Incredibly water-resistant, many were able to survive years at sea. giving them plenty of time to find land. Once ashore, vegetation spread quickly. Finally, animals arrived. Cast away on rafts, life forms of many different shapes and sizes made the crossing. The Virgin Islands had space for them all. These early inhabitants had the run of the forest and the pick of its bounties. But to make the most of them, the newcomers had to adapt. Today, their descendants plunder northern Sulawesi's volcanic beaches. Monkeys are on the move. A troop of crested black macaques has come down to forage. Living in extraordinary large families, they like to do everything together. Each morning, they head to the shore to see what the tide's brought in. Some seem more interested than others. Sulawesi's lush forests provide endless opportunities. They even brave a salty drink. The water settles their stomachs, but not their nerves. Living in these fertile lands has allowed the monkeys to thrive in large, happy families. Supported by an abundance of food, troops can contain up to 100 individuals. And one of the key ingredients for their lavish surroundings blows in on the wind. For most of the year, Sulawesi is swamped in cloud, caught in the epicenter of the world's greatest weather system, the monsoon. Powerful winds batter the islands. Bombarded not once but twice a year, there is a reward for weathering the storm. Life-giving waters feed the land and all that grows on it. Providing Wallacea with the foundations for unrivaled treasures. Sulawesi is drenched by the monsoon for 10 months of the year. So when there is a break in the weather, there is no time to waste for one of its most iconic residents. A male Malayo has arrived at the beach for a very important event. He is preparing a nest. With the hard work done, he is joined by his partner. Taking advantage of the heat generated by the island's volcanic foundations, the pair will bury their egg deep in the sand. The chick will not be nurtured by its parents, but by the island that will become its home. It is thought that Malayos have temperature sensors in their bills to gauge the appropriate depth to lay their eggs. Nesting in communal areas, prime spots need defending. But with all the squabbling, it is easy for the couple to forget why they're here. When their chick hatches, it could take up to 2 days to dig its way to the surface, where it will emerge to face the world alone. And there are many dangers prowling these beaches. With nothing seemingly on offer, the monitor lizard carries on down the beach. This dragon may not compare to the giants living on Komodo, but at over 25 kilos, the water monitor is the second largest lizard in the world. The prosperous beaches of Sulawesi provide the perfect home for these giant reptiles. Like their cousins in the south, they are one of the island's top predators. And they aren't fussy about what they eat. Its forked tongue flickers, tasting the air. And its razor-sharp teeth make light work of the crab's defenses. Luckily, the low tide has exposed a feast, as crabs leave their burrows to forage. With such a varied diet, the monitor lizard controls the populations of many animals on the island. Another small factor that helps ensure Sulawesi's unique ecosystems remain in balance. As the tide turns, the dragon heads back to the forest, a little fuller than when it left. When there are predators around, sometimes staying out of sight is the best way to stay alive. Lying still, this Draco lizard all but disappears. But today, he wants to be noticed. He's looking for a mate. His bright yellow dewlap advertises his presence to females. But he has attracted the wrong kind of attention. The vine snake's horizontal pupils give it acute binocular vision, so it can focus sharply on prey and judge distance with pinpoint accuracy. The snake seems to be taunting its target, advertising its ability to swallow prey whole. The serpent moves slowly, mimicking a creeper swaying in the breeze. But the Draco has the trump card. Like all true dragons, it can fly. Throughout the islands, creatures have adapted to conquer every environment. While some have mastered the art of evasion, others have undergone a more sinister transformation. A monster lurks in the shadows. Embracing the darkness, it is in its element. The whip spider is the perfect predator in this sensory void. Possessing only 6 legs, the 4th pair has evolved into whips that sweep its environment. Anything unfortunate enough to make contact with them will fall victim to the spider's menacing pincers. A cave cricket is the target. With hundreds living in the underworld, it is blind luck who will get singled out. The monster surrounds its prey and moves in for the kill. Sea hides many strange creatures. One in particular is more peculiar than most. Living in remote expanses of forest, it is rarely seen, and very few know of its existence. One of the only places to catch a glimpse of it is at hidden clearings in the trees. The male Barbaroussa has to be one of the world's strangest looking animals. Barbaroussa means pig deer, and it resembles a bizarre mix of the two. His remarkable tusks are actually overgrown teeth that have painfully forced their way through his upper jaw. Brittle, they are not used for fighting. But that doesn't stop males protecting their turf. The Barbaroussa that rules the clearing has first pick of the females. But unlike their headgear, fights can be less impressive. The clearing is actually a salt lick, drawing in many forest creatures. Across Sulawesi, mineral deposits can be found near hot springs and volcanic vents. Another example of how the island's past supports its future. The family spend their day probing the mud for salts essential to their diet. They chew rocks, eat soil, and drink water from the spring. A varied diet ranges from fruits and seeds to small mammals. And disturbingly, adults will sometimes even eat their own young. So it pays to keep clear. The Barbaroussa is not what you'd expect. Even on the strange islands of Wallacea, it is rare to see such a bizarre freak of nature. Back in the north, the crested black macaque family are on the move. Led by the alpha male, they are on a mission for food. He sends the adolescents to scout the canopy, while the rest wait on the forest floor. Once they find what they're looking for, they send it down via the most direct route. In these food-rich forests, the monkeys have access to over 100 varieties of fruit. Mangoes, figs, and breadfruit all grow in abundance. Some are easier to open than others. Even fallen trees provide opportunities. Termites are a protein-packed ready meal. As they move through the trees, the monkeys have company. Drongos follow, picking off insects disturbed by the foraging. The monkeys are not the only ones making the most of the fruit. A male hornbill is on a very different sort of mission. His partner has locked herself away inside a fig tree to rear their chick. He has the responsibility of making sure they both have enough to eat. Unlike the macaques below, he is much more selective about what he feeds his family. He picks the ripest figs from a handful of trees in the forest. And only the best will do. Returning to the nest up to 8 times a day, the hornbill has his work cut out. And he has several more weeks of hard work before his chick is ready to take to the wing. Whilst both the hornbill and macaques make the most of the abundance of fruit on offer, they also give back to the forest that supports them. Roaming over great distances, they spread seeds far and wide, ensuring continued growth. In this Eden, the forest and the animals that live in it rely on one another. Whilst the hornbill continues his labour of love in the canopy, on the forest floor, the alpha male has decided the troop have had enough food for one morning. It's time to rest. The crested black macaques of Sulawesi are incredibly caring monkeys. Because they have so much food on offer, there is no need to fight over it. For this family, life is easy. Grooming reinforces bonds, as well as getting rid of unwanted guests. The monkey's characteristic crests are highly individual and help the family recognize one another. Socializing is an important part of their day and vital to the troop's success. But when the alpha decides it's time to go, everyone follows. Sulawesi's fruit trees provide life for a wealth of animals. Strangler figs are among the largest. But their residents don't show their faces until after dark. The rising moon is their signal to wake up. Not aliens, but tarsiers. One of the world's smallest primates, they can fit into a human hand. It takes the family a while to adjust to the moonlight. These nocturnal creatures have developed some extreme adaptations. Huge eyes are bigger than both their brain and stomach, giving the tarsier excellent eyesight. Elongated feet are great for gripping. Satellite-like ears pinpoint the quietest sound. And when dinner is located, they pounce. Some more successfully than others. Living in families of up to 8, you need to be quick. Otherwise, you're going to miss out. The tiny tarsier may look cute and cuddly, but they are one of the forest's most deadly predators. Nothing is ever as it seems in the land of dragons. Another hunter is on the move. This one has the tail of a serpent, the armor of a dragon, and the feet of a lizard. But this is no reptile. This is the pangolin, a mammal on the hunt for insects. Poor vision means the pangolin has to rely on a strong sense of smell to track down its prey. An excellent climber, his nose leads him into the canopy. The pangolin's tail grips branches as his feet and claws propel him higher. He's hit the jackpot. An ant's nest. The ants stand little chance of escape against his sticky 40-centimetre long tongue. The ants are swallowed whole. Pangolins have no teeth, so they are unable to chew their food. Instead, their thick muscular stomach walls are lined with spines that help crush their meal. Attacking the intruder's head is a waste of time. His tough armor-plated skin can't be penetrated. Nostrils and ears can be closed, and thick lids protect his eyes. Pangolins can consume up to 200,000 ants a night. Fortunately for their victims, each raid lasts no more than a minute or two. Nocturnal hunters have adapted incredible methods for making the most of the forest's riches. But there are those who use the darkness for a very different reason. Instead of hiding in the shadows, their intention is to be seen. Fireflies transform the forest. Each of these tiny lights is a message beamed into the night sky. Gathering together in their thousands, males twinkle in synchrony. They are trying to attract a mate. Fireflies are actually tiny beetles, each individual just a few millimeters long. Picking the best spot for a performance is essential. Light is produced in their abdomens, the result of a reaction between oxygen and a chemical called luciferin. By concentrating their efforts, the beetles ensure females are all drawn to the same place, giving them a greater chance of success. A single light in the darkness would be easy to miss. But a treeful is hard for a female firefly to resist. Across Wallacea, unique animals have adapted to make the most of their bountiful surroundings. But one has truly mastered its environment. The Komodo dragon is the ultimate island predator. Originating from Australia, Over 4 million years ago, it is thought they swam to the islands they now call home. Arriving in a land of plenty, they quickly dominated. Highly intelligent, they honed their hunting techniques. Today, over 5,000 currently roam 4 tiny islands in the Indonesian archipelago. An abundance of prey means the next generation's future is secure. This dinosaur is just one part of a unique Eden. Throughout the islands of Wallacea, the rare and extraordinary are flourishing. Thriving on their riches, all play a part in maintaining the balance of one of the world's most remarkable ecosystems.